Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy Cass King here, back at it again on another motherfucking live stream, and I'm here with my brother Krusty Loves.
What's up? We're gonna be doing another episode of DnD.
Grimbo, gonna do Grimbo things.
I guess we'll see what Grimbo does.
What Grimbo do is he do.
What Grimbo do is he do.
He does. Scooby
Yeah.
Doo can do.
Yes.
Alright, shall we give a little epilogue of what happened last time?
Go for it.
Grimbo ate many tasty orbs and woke up on a beach.
Not in that order.
Not in that order.
Grimbo went through the woods, saw some humans talking about mermaids. Then Grimbo was chased down by a wild boar. Grimbo killed wild boar. Grimbo was taken in as a hostage ? Into a goblin community. Grimbo has no idea who he is or where he's from. Grimbo was taken in, and the chieftain let out a watch orb to watch Grimbo. Grimbo was curious and ate it. Tasted like sweet honeydew. Grimbo went out to find Grimson, a female goblin, and saved her from the clitterbugs. And then Grimbo came back, had another showdown, rolled the best rolls ever, managed to eat 2 more orbs, and so now the chieftain told Grimbo that they must go to war against the neighboring clan. And Grimbo says, let Grimbo sleep on it. And the chieftain said, then go, get some rest, and come back in the morn, for we head out for war. That was last time on D&D.
Now Grimbo's
So,
sitting on side of bed.
really, it's a patch of hay, but goblins think they're good beds. You wake up. Now what?
I check myself.
Roll me a 6-sided die.
Alright. I roll a 3.
You feeling alright? Not bad, not good.
Grimbo hungry. Grimbo want more orbs.
You do smell some of that hog left over from the previous day. Still over the fire, gristling.
I'll take some of that.
Alright, you go over and eat some, and you're feeling pretty good. You see some guards posted at the cave entrance, and you see some other guards preparing by putting on some armor and sharpening their weapons with stones that they've picked up from the ground.
See, I don't have any weapons.
Then you don't have any weapons. You didn't write down the one weapon that you had from the other day, so I guess it's gone.
Damn.
You have to keep up with your own inventory. If you don't write it down, then you've lost it. You see Grimson, and she is stringing her bow, and you see her tying some arrows together as well. As well as a few other female or goblins doing the same. You see old female goblins taking the children goblin into the back of the cave.
Grimbo check hay for weapon.
Roll me a die.
I roll a 6.
You roll a 6, eh?
Yep.
Do you remember what you're wearing?
I'm wearing like a cape.
No, it's a robe.
Oh yeah, it's a robe.
Yeah, you need to be writing this stuff down. Inventory is important. Open up a notepad.
Okay, I am wearing a robe.
Do you remember the stat bonuses you get from the robe?
That I do have written down.
+1 to health and +1 to spell attack damage. Yeah. All right. Okay, so you rolled a 6 for searching for a weapon. And you come across a spear.
Grimbo Shakespeare.
It's a pretty nice spear. It has a lot less rust than all the other weapons that you come across. Matter of fact, it doesn't even look like it's goblin made. Decent quality.
Grimbo Lick.
It tastes like blood.
Grimbo holds spear overhead and do dance.
All right, roll it.
I roll 3.
You do a little jig with your butt.
Are any of the ladies looking?
On a 3, probably not.
Alright, I'm gonna try and really shake my ass.
I'll give you one more chance to shake your booty again.
Alright, let's roll it. Oh, hold on, we got a $5 dono for a re-roll.
Oh, who gave the dono?
My Florida's pink.
My Florida's Pink is giving Casket a re-roll.
Which is
All right.
good because I rolled a 2.
Okay, so then you get a re-roll. Now, well, let me take a second and explain to the viewers what a re-roll is. Would you mind?
Go right ahead, my friend. I mean, my brother.
So,
excuse me.
This is an interactive Dungeons and Dragons game. You, the chat, have control over anything. You can screw us over, or you can help us out, and by us I mean Casket, or you can screw me over. And here's how. For a $5 dono, you can request a re-roll of any roll that I have to do, or Casket. So if you really want him to do good, or if you want him to be screwed over, you can request a re-roll for $5, and it must be done.
And for a $2 dono, you can make a suggestion that I will consider.
Yep. So there you go. That is how you, the chat, can interact with us. It'd be interesting to see how they play this out, eh?
Time for me to shake my groove thing.
All right. My Florida's Pink gave you a re-roll, so
let's roll it. Grimbo has rolled another 3.
Yeah, you're there just shaking your booty, and you're twirling your new spear. It's a nice spear. It's really balanced.
What's the attack on this bad boy?
It is a 3 at range. And by 3, I mean you roll a 3-sided die.
I see.
Yeah. It's a 3 at range. Or you can throw it, but you have to do an accuracy check. But if you hit, it does an instant 6.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, but you have to roll a good accuracy check. You can crit it for a total of 12, but good luck on that.
Grimbo will now explore cave.
All right. It is a rock cave. It looks like it had been scraped out. It's not naturally formed. It's a straight shot back with 2 offshoots to the right. The far right, the one that's closest to the end of the cave to the right is where the chieftain lies.
I'm gonna see if I can't find like a blacksmith. Do they have a blacksmith?
Probably not. They are low-level goblins.
They are low-level goblins. Okay. I'm just gonna prepare for war, I guess.
Well, the chieftain told you to come to him in the morning to let him know whether or not you were going to go to war.
That is true. Let me go to him.
All right, you walk up to the northern right entrance of the cave to the chieftain quarters. Let me get my.
ID. Folder.
You okay?
I'll be
Let's see here. Let's see what kind of mood the chieftain is in. Would you give me a number between 1 and 6? The higher it is, the happier he is.
A random number. I didn't get that.
Oh.
Could you try again?
Give me a random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 5.
Grimbo, have you decided if you're going to war with us?
Grimbo has decided to fight.
Good. The chieftain looks you up and down. I see you found a spear.
Grimbo find it in pile of hay.
May it serve you well in combat, but I find it quite odd that a magic user such as yourself relies on such primitive fighting strategies, he says to you.
Spear is just for look, so people not know Grimbo do magic.
Well, Grimbo, you're wearing a brown robe with feathers on your sleeve. It's not going to be quite hard to find out. But you are a odd fellow. I still don't know where you came from. But if you turn your back on my clan in combat, I will fight you to the death. Do you understand, Grimbo?
Oh, Grimbo want more tasty orbs.
Are you trying to intimidate?
Not exactly. Grimbo just want more tasty orbs.
He takes a slight step backwards. Well, you'll get no more from me unless it's to kill you, Grimbo. You see him walk over behind his nicely made bed, and he opens up a chest and he pulls out a really like old looking. It's a dark wood with lines engraved and throughout it with some sort of symbols you don't understand. And it's got feathers hanging off of it, and it's got a green glowing some sort of rock on the top of it, and he holds it up and he goes, well, we head to war. Prepare yourself, Grimbo. And he throws you 2 vials. Try to catch him.
Alright, let's roll it. I roll a 4.
Alright, you stumble, but you manage to catch both vials. Here you go, Grimbo. 2 health potions. Use them wisely. And here. And he tosses you a 3rd item. Try to catch it.
I was trying to catch it. I rolled a 2.
And you try to catch it, but your hands are full, and it flies right by you and breaks on the ground, and you see a green glowing liquid just start absorbing into the ground.
I panic and start looking it up.
Roll me a die, and let's see if you get cut by glass.
Alright. I roll a 6.
You start licking up the green vial, and you feel rejuvenated, and you've got a temporary buff.
Ooh.
You managed to lick enough to get the buff. And the buff that you get is +2 to your health for the day. It's temporary. So that puts you up to 9.
Yes.
And it gives you... Yep, and it gives you the ability to take 2 or 3 full actions in combat instead of just 2 for the day.
Ooh.
Remember, these are only for the day.
You are quite a interesting fellow, Grimbo. But at least it worked. Lucky you licked it up in time.
He walks over and he starts kicking the glass up.
Sauron!
He yells, and another goblin comes in. Yes, sir.
Sauron, clean up this glass!
At once, sir. And you see a goblin who's wearing nothing but a loincloth jump on top of the glass and roll in it, and it sticks in his body. And he starts bleeding, and then he starts letting out a yell, and then he stands up and he runs away.
Damn.
Good, Sauron! Good, Sauron! See, now that is what you call a wonderful worker. He's my slave.
So what do you do next?
Grimbo looked. I try to have a very impressed look on my face.
Well, Grimbo, you choose a spear, I choose my staff. Let's see who does best in combat in the war.
He slams his staff on the ground, and the green gem at the top begins to glow, and his eyes start to glow green as well, where it was glowing blue from before. And you can feel the power that his magic is intensified, and it changed colors.
I ogle him and I say, green magic must be even tastier.
Oh, Grimbo, you have seen nothing yet, young magic user.
And you see him reach back into his chest, and he pulls out a headband with feathers on it, and he slides it on, and they've got green gems, and they begin to glow as well. And his eyes really intensify to a darker shade of green, and they glow so brightly that the entire room becomes illuminated with light. And so the gems are glowing, the staff is glowing, and his eyes are glowing a dark green. And he opens his mouth, and he grins, and he says,
"Let's go to war."
and as he does, a green glowing mist emanates from the back of his throat, out of his mouth like fog, and he gestures you to follow.
All right, let's do it.
You walk out into the chamber.
Everyone get prepared. Oh, the elderly and children, you stay here.
You see Grimson, the female goblin that you saved, put her bow on her shoulder and her arrows into her pouch, and she stands in line with 3 other female goblins. And you see 9 goblin men stand together wearing armor made out of clitter bugs, and they're holding various weapons such as swords and daggers and things of that nature, as they begin to walk out of the cave. You walk for about an hour, and you see the chieftain stop, and he turns around and says,
"From here forward, we enter enemy grounds, the opposing clan. Prepare yourself, for I know not lies beyond this point."
He slams his staff on the ground, and a green glowing orb appears in the air, and it starts circling around him, and he's controlling it with the direction of his staff. Like, as he moves his staff, the orb moves, and he pushes it forward, and it whiffs off through the woods. And let's see what he finds, shall we?
Page 1.
Give me a random number between 1 and 6.
Random number between 1 and 6 is 2.
It comes wisping back, and a few moments later,
"Well, it appears to be all clear, Ed."
and he starts walking forward with the green orb circling around him. Do you care to do anything?
can I find a rock on the ground?
Roll it.
I roll a 3.
Alright, you find a small rock about the size of your palm.
I'm gonna throw the rock past the chieftain into the next area.
Let's see if you can do it. Roll it, but give me a -1 to roll for your strength negative
Alright.
modifier.
I've rolled a 5.
You toss the rock ahead, and you hear doo doo doo, and you hear the sound of the branches make a wisping sound.
Wait, stop! We've got to re-roll for a $5 no-no from My Florida's Pink.
My Florida's Pink, what would you like to be re-rolled, good sir?
Yeah, what would you like us to re-roll?
You picked. You get to choose what's re-rolled. Remember, chat, you can. This is your story just as much as it is Casket's.
It is our story.
Anytime you want to re-roll, whether it be something I do or something that Casket does on his character, $5 will get you a re-roll. $2 to make a suggestion for Casket to do something as Grimbo. So My Florida's Pink.
Oh, he
what
wants
would
me
you
to
like?
re-roll Finding a Rock.
Okay. Re-roll Finding a Rock.
Alright, let's re-roll it. I rolled a 5.
Alright, you found a pretty good rock. It's nice and oval shape, and it fits great in your hands.
Thank you
And
for
you
the
get
dono.
you get a
My
+1
Florida's
for
Pink.
throw.
Alright, let's throw it again, shall we?
Yeah, since this one is more agile, you get a +1 for your throw.
I rolled a 5.
Oh, so that gives you a total of 6.
Hell yeah, huh?
See, sometimes rerolls can be the difference. You
Oh,
throw
yeah.
the rock, and it clears the branches, and you hear it hit something. And you see that it had landed perfectly, and it bounces up in the air as a net goes flying up, and the rock is captured in the net, and you can clearly see it, unlike before.
Well, what is this madness?
The chieftain turns and looks at you over his shoulder.
How did you know to do that, Grimbo?
Grimbo have good senses.
Servant!
Yes, sir. A goblin comes walking forward with a couple pieces of glass still poking out of him, just a little bit.
Oh god.
What do you need, sir?
Go forward, ahead of us. They've obviously trapped this area. They know we're coming.
As you wish, sir. And he nods his head and he starts walking forward. And he walks into the woods. And he walks in about 20 feet, 30 feet, and then the chieftain says,
Now let's continue, shall we?
he raises his hand to the army, and he points forward in the air as you guys begin to track forward into the unknown area.
Well, Grimbo, up until where we just walked through, I can see all happening in the lands. Not clearly, of course, but I know when people come in and out of my kingdom. It's a part of being chieftain. But beyond this line, I do not hold such capabilities, even with my staff. We must be prepared.
Alright, I'm going to roll 6-sided die.
5 p.m.
Pick a random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 5.
All of a sudden, up ahead, you hear,
Oh no, please, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
and the chieftain stops in his tracks, and he puts his hand back, stopping the armor.
Oh please, I promise, we mean no harm. Don't do this, please. I am but a lost goblin. I beg you.
and he motions. He gives a hand signal in the air, and you see the army go at ease. The chieftain links or crouches down and slowly begins to walk forward. What shall you do?
I will also crouch down and follow behind.
You crouch down the chieftain and you follow behind. And you go through a bush and you look through and you see the servant goblin on his knees with two goblins with spears at his neck. The chieftain leans over to you and whispers,
He's a lost cause. We must kill them before they let the others know. Prepare a spell if you can, Grimbo.
How many other goblins are there?
There's two with spears. They have spears and armor on. They're black armor. The glitterbug armor is yellow with black dots. It looks different than yours, or than the clan you come from.
I.
What do you do, Grimbo?
Grimbo not leave man behind. I charge at the nearest one with my spear and try and charge up a magic attack as well.
Ooh, you get 3 actions per turn. Combat begins now then, but I'll give you 1 free round since you are doing a surprise. So let's see if you can charge up your spell. Roll it. You have to roll better than a 3.
Alright, let's roll it. Fuck, I rolled a 1.
Well, you try...
Wait. Like I said, I have just rolled a 1, everybody. If you want that to change, you can change that for a $5 dono.
If you don't, your spell fizzles out as you are having a hard time concentrating moving forward with your spear in the other hand. That's where it'll play. We give 10 seconds.
Oh, we got a fucking dono from My Float is Pink. Roll that shit again.
Well, okay.
Woo!
The chat has spoken.
Let's do it. Let's re-roll.
You have to get better than a 3.
I have rolled a 6. Woo!
In your left hand, do you want to be left-handed or right-handed?
I'll be right-handed.
Which hand is holding the spear?
My left hand.
In your right hand, you feel the energy pulsing through you as you feel the urge to save every man. No one gets left behind, you think to yourself. As you feel the energy push through the palm of your hand, forming a blue arrow that starts to spin rapidly. And in your left hand, you hold the spear up. You have 2 actions left. You approach. There's 2 enemies, one to the left and one to the right, with the points of their weapons at the neck of the servant goblin. Let me roll. Well, hold on. You have 2 more actions to do. Who are you going to fire your arrow at? The left or to the right?
Who's the closest?
It's pretty even. You jumped right out in front of both of them.
Alright, I'll shoot my arrow at the right guy, and then I'll do something with my spear to the left guy.
Alright, so to the guy on the right, you're shooting your arrow. Go ahead and give me a roll to see how much damage it does.
Alright, let's roll it.
Yeah, since you rolled a 6, and you are on a surprise turn, they don't have a
2.
chance to dodge. You rolled a 2, but it doubles for damage because it was a critical roll for summoning the spell.
Plus the one from my robe.
Plus the one from your robe, that's 5 damage. You see the arrow spin out of your hand, cutting the air, slicing right through it, making a whistling sound. It hits the goblin right in his chest, and you see it spinning with the drill tip on the end through his black armor as pieces of it begin to shave off. And he grabs his chest, and his hands become bloodied due to trying to grab the spinning arrow. And he falls to the ground, hunched over. You have 1 more action to take.
I'm going to attack the one on the left with my spear.
Will you stab him or throw?
I'm going to stab.
This one does get a chance to dodge since he saw what happened to the first one. He gets a
Alright.
reaction. So roll me a six-sided die, and he's going to roll one for dodge.
Alright, let's roll it. I've rolled a 3.
Give me a random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 2.
He goes to dodge, and you slice him in the side. Now roll for damage.
I have rolled a 6.
No, it's a three-sided die for
Oh, wait,
damage.
hold on.
Goober.
I've rolled a 2.
It slices into his side, and he stumbles backward with his spear in hand. And now that is your reactionary turn. Let's see here. Now roll me a number between 1 and 6.
Alright. I've rolled a 3.
Roll me a number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 5.
Roll me another number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 3.
This is for the chieftain. Roll me another random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 1.
All right, chieftain's going last. All right, so it's going to go spearman, you, chieftain. Actually, there's actually one more person here, the servant.
6:03 p.m.
Roll me a number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 1.
All right, he's going last as well. He's prone. The spearman you just stabbed goes first. He looks at you with fear in his eyes, and he looks down at his stomach and sees that you've gouged a part of his belly. And he's like, "You fool!" He pulls his spear back and he tosses it at you. Let's see. You're gonna have to roll for a dodge.
I'm gonna roll. Let it roll. I rolled a 2.
Roll me a random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 6.
Ooh, he hits you with that spear throw
Oh.
with a crit roll. Not good for Grimbo.
Not good for Grimbo indeed.
All right. Roll me a random number between 1 and 3.
A random number between 1 and 3 is 1.
All right, you're lucky. It does 3 damage to you. You're lucky he rolled a 1 on the crit.
Alright.
So it hits you in the stomach, close to where you hit him, and you take 3 damage as his spear sinks into your belly.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then he turns.
Wait. Reroll for Grimbo. $5 dono from My Florida's Pink.
What, you want me to re-roll the attack from the enemy?
Maybe he wants to re-roll the dodge. What do you want us to re-roll, my dude?
You want to re-roll the dodge from Grimbo or the attack of the spearman?
Re-roll the dodge.
All right, let's see if you get it.
Rewind. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's dodge. I've rolled a 6 again. Woo!
Damn,
Re-rolls
all right.
rock.
All right, so what happened before seems but a faint memory in your mind, as though it was a fear of yours. As you see him throw the spear in your direction, you daydreamed what it would have been like to have been hit by that spear. And a fear takes over you, and it causes you the ability to dodge without second thought as the spear goes twirling across from you and lands in a tree and sinks in behind you. And the spearman looks at you fearfully, now without a weapon, and he turns to run. And he starts running starting to run back through the woods. The other spearman, who has a hole in his chest, leans forward, coughing up blood. And he takes his spear, and he looks up at you, and he looks at the servant goblin. And blood running through his teeth, he grits and grabs his spear to go stab the closest enemy to him, the servant.
I try and protect him.
You can, it's not your turn.
Fuck.
Discord. Collapsed stack.
Roll me a number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 3.
He rolls a 3, although he is damaged severely. But since the servant is prone, he stabs the servant in the back,
7 p.m.
dealing. Roll me a number between 1 and 3.
A random number between 1 and 3 is 3.
It hits him for 3 damage. And you see the servant lean forward and fall to the ground with a spear sticking out of his back as the severely wounded goblin stands up with a hole in his black armor with blood seeping out of it, pulling the spear out of the back of the servant.
6:07 p.m.
And now it is your turn.
Grimbo drop kick him.
Roll it.
Rolling it. I rolled a 2.
In your fury, you go to try and drop kick him, and you miss. Flying across, but you have 2 more actions for the day thanks to the buff.
I get up and tackle him.
You still have your spear in hand. You know that.
Oh yeah, okay. So I get up and I attack him with my spear.
You gonna throw it, or you gonna try to stab him with it?
I'm gonna stab him. He seems pretty stabbable.
All right. Well, let's see if he can dodge. Give me an attack roll. I'll give a dodge roll.
All right.
PM. 5 notifications.
Fuck! I rolled a 1.
4 notifications. Discord.
You rolled a 1.
Minutes ago. Discord. Notification.
All right,
Well,
everybody. Grimbo's rolled a 1. What do we do?
Well, what happens is you go to stab the guard, and you miss, and you stab into the servant goblin
Oh,
as he
damn.
lets out his final gasp, and you hear his life leave his lungs.
Damn.
With 1 HP left, he was barely holding on to the world.
No.
No man left behind, you hear echo in your mind, as you see him lay there, lifeless before you. You have 1 more action to take.
Can I grapple him and try and gouge out his eyes?
Sure.
All right, let's roll it. I rolled a 6.
You, in rage, jump forward. Since you rolled a 6, he doesn't get a dodge. I'm going to give this to you. You jump onto him, and you start clawing his face and screaming and yelling, and you bite him, and you pull his eyes out. So he falls to the ground and dies underneath your black claws,
Damn.
letting out his last gasp of air. Now it's to the chieftain's turn. The chieftain jumps out of the bush. Don't forget, he's been here. He just rolled a 1. The chieftain jumps out, holding his green staff to the in the direction of the goblin that is running away. And
5 notifications.
roll me a random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 4.
And you see a green orb appear at the end of his staff, much larger than the blue you saw earlier, with yellow lines throughout it. And it jets forward. Let's see if it hits. Roll me a random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 2.
He rolls a 2, and let's see if the running goblin can evade. Roll me a random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 3.
The goblin just barely dodges the attack as it flies forward, and you see this green ball of energy with yellow lines like emanating throughout it hit a tree and bust the tree in half as the top begins to fall down. Now it's back to the first goblin's turn, the opposing enemy's team, and he begins to dart off into the woods.
Wait, I thought he was dead.
No, that's the second goblin that had died. The first one threw a spear, missed you, and then he turned and ran. So he begins to run as he fades away into the bushes. Shall you give chase?
Wait, hold on. We just got another dono from my Florida's Pink. Alright, what do you want us to re-roll, my friend?
And to the chat, I'll take a moment to state again in case we have new people who have just joined after it started. This is a
my
interactive...
Florida's Pink wants to re-roll the attack on Grinbo.
The attack on Grimbo. Which attack? Or is he talking about the servant? Or the attack you did that accidentally hit the servant? Well,
He says the second one.
Okay. So, all right, but I'll take a second and say that to the chat, this is an interactive D&D campaign. For $5, you can pay for a reroll of either mine, the DM, or Caskets. And for $2 dono, you can give a suggestion for an idea of what to do next for Grimbo.
Alright, so rewind. I'm attacking the other goblin.
In your mind, you've seen events yet to come, but you are fearful that they may come true. And you are standing there in front of the goblin who has his spear in the back of the servant goblin. And you've seen all these futuristic events that may come to pass. You don't know where these thoughts keep coming from. And you stand there, and you know that your spear must land true. And you hold on tight, and you roll.
And I roll a 1. God damn it, everything happens again.
All the events play out as they previously did, for you rolled a 1. Yes. You've killed the servant, and in your mind you hear the echo, no man left behind. And just as before, you kill the second goblin, and you see your chieftain come out with lightning crackle, yellow lightning.
Wait, another dono from my Florida's Pink. Roll it again.
You appear again right in front of the enemy who's bleeding to death. And you've seen this twice before, and you get a sense of deja vu knowing that this time everything must go to order. You cannot allow the servant to die. This must end with his death so the servant may live. Your spear must fly true. Roll it.
I rolled a 4.
Your spear flies, and it hits the enemy goblin in his stomach as he falls backwards, for he was barely hanging on to life. And you hear a gasp out of the servant goblin, for futures have been changed, and you know not what happens next, for these events have not occurred to you. For if he lives, you see your chieftain come out of the woods as he powers up the orb in his staff, and he shoots it at the opposing goblin.
5 notification.
Roll me a random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 2.
And he rolls, just like he did before. Let's see if the a running away goblin can dodge it. The enemy goblin, you see it shoot as it did before, and in your mind, you are afraid that he too will dodge it as you have once seen. Roll me a random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 5.
And he dodges it, just as he did before. The events played out the same, except for now the servant lives. As you see him darting through the woods, will you give chase, or will you stay?
6:17 p.m.
Grimbo give chase.
Grimbo turns. Do you grab your spear?
Yes.
Grabs your spear, and with ferocity in your eyes, you begin to give chase. Roll me a 6-sided die.
All right. I've rolled a 2.
You have rolled a 2. Let's see if he rolls better. Roll me a random number between 1 and 6.
A random number between 1 and 6 is 1.
You are actually stumbling through the woods, but you are managed to close the gap as he looks back and sees you fiercely on his trail. The gap is shortening between you and this goblin. Combat shall immense. You have 2 actions to take, and you cannot reach him yet. What shall you do?
I'm going to throw my spear while running.
All right, let's see if you can hit him. Roll me 1 through 6.
Let's roll it.
If you get a 6, it crits
Fuck,
damage
I
for
rolled a 1.
Your spear goes flying off into the woods. You have no idea where it lands. You have 1 more action you can take.
I keep chase.
Let's see if you can close the gap anymore. Roll me a 1 through 6.
Let's roll it. Another 1.
He begins to trail away, and you see him look behind, and he smiles. It's his turn. Of course he's going to
Wait,
run.
reroll the spear throw from my floor thing.
All right. In your mind, you see the events of your spear flying off in a direction, and you know that your throw must be true. And you focus hard on your spear, granting you a +1 to your throw. Throw it.
Let's roll it. I rolled another 1.
Well, this time it's a 2 because you have a +1 and it sticks in a tree ahead of you. You have 1 more action you can take still. This is the way.
I'm gonna have to grab my spear.
You run forward and pull your spear out of the tree, and you are out of actions. He turns back and laughs at you and begins to run. Let's see, if he rolls a 5 or a 6, he gets away. A 3 or 4, the distance gets farther between. A 1 and a 2, he stumbles and falls. Roll me a random number between 1 and 6.
Random number between 1 and 6 is 6.
Fuck.
Oh, he runs off into the woods cackling as you hear his voice fading into the distance. That's the roll of the dice, man.
Damn.
I'm
Alright,
just
then
the narrator.
I start running back to where I was.
As you get back to where you were, you see the chieftain goblin leaning over his servant as he takes a couple drops of a health potion and drops it on the servant's tongue. And the servant gasps and stands up.
Well, that's all you get. It's just your right for being captured by the enemy scum. Grimbo!
The servant stands up weakly on his feet.
Sorry, sir. I'll do better next time, I promise.
His wounds are slightly healed, but are still readily visible.
Did you stop that second goblin?
He got away.
He got away! You fool! Now they'll know we're coming.
He jumps back through the bushes, and the servant limps behind him through the bushes. Grimbo, now! He says, his eyes glowing green in rage as the green flames intensify from his the rubies on his headdress.
Army, we have to go now. Every minute we wait is a moment they get more prepared. We're already outnumbered. Here's the game plan. You all will be the, how can I put this? Distraction, as Grimbo and I will go in and kill their chieftain. Once he is dead, we can make claim and gather and grow our legion. Come, Grimbo, we must go with haste.
And he points his hand up in the air and makes a couple symbols with his fingers, and all of the male guards and female bowmen tighten up, and they all begin to run through the woods as the servant goblin starts limping along behind. Still wounded. What will you do?
I will go with the chieftain.
You begin to run with the chieftain as, as you see that the servant goblin is limping behind, trying to keep up, but he fades in the distance behind as you follow the chieftain and the army. You run for about another hour, and off in the distance you see a tall cliff edge appear in front of you. And at the bottom there is an entranceway with 4 guards posted out front, 2 bowmen and 2 with pikes.
Now, Grimbo, you, army.
He makes a couple symbols with his hands. By the way, after that last combat, you officially hit level 2.
Sweet.
Yeah. So roll me a 3-sided dice for health increase.
Alright, let's roll it. Oh, wait, that's a 4.
I said a
Another
3-sided die, Goober.
I only have a 6, and I keep rolling 4. That's a 5. That's a 2. Alright.
Alright, you get plus 2 health.
Alright, sick.
So now you're up to 9. As well, you get plus 2 health, as well as your magic can be summoned a little easier. Now you have to roll instead of rolling a 4, 5, or 6, now you have to roll a 3, 4, 5, or 6 in order to be able to summon a spell.
Nice.
Yes. And I will be right back, for I must go use the restroom, so I shall return!
Alright, yo, what up, everybody? It's the Casket King. How's everybody doing? While we're taking a break, I'll update my donation goal. Alright, so it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Alright, cool. Oh, man. day, what a day, what a motherfucking day. Do, 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 do.
Well, Casket,
Yes.
we are going to have to end it here for the day. My toilet is clogged, so I have to go buy a plunger.
Okay, dude. Well, that's it for today, everybody. We hope you enjoyed.
So Thursday or Tuesday, we'll pick up with the invasion of the opposing clan.
Hell yeah.
Sound good?
Sound good to me, man.
Great. I hope everybody out there enjoyed, and prepare for Invasion Day for session 3 Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Be there and be prepared for Invasion Day with Grimbo.
Hell yeah.
All right. I guess we can end the live here.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. I'll go live again here in about 5 to 10 minutes. Look out for that. See you then.